Hi, and good evening, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is Vlogs About Nothing. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your very busy night to join me. I really do appreciate it. Me and my lazy eye here are doing our best to, stay upright. Oh, literally, you feel me? Although I'm not quite sure if that's how you would prepositionally phrase, the subject of the sentence in that I'm trying to say, which is that, I'm just trying to stabilize my lazy eye. This lazy eye is something that I'm on, you feel me? Moreover, I've discovered that it might not just be a lazy eye. I woke up this morning and there was I had a sty, okay? Not gonna lie. I'm not sure if y'all know what a sty is. I'm not even sure I know what a sty is. I just know that I've got them since I was a little boy, and my grandma used to help me unglue my eyelids, essentially. I'm not sure what's wrong with my eyes or my seasonal allergies. Zyrtec ain't cutting it, you feel me? Although I would never take Zyrtec, and this isn't a paid endorsement, nor would it ever be, but I strongly encourage you guys to do your research before taking such said products like Zyrtec and whatever, Cialis. I'm just naming drugs now. I'm not even sure if they're for the same thing. They're probably not, now that I think about it. Anyways, the lazy eye thing. So yeah, sidebar, let's conclude that. So when I was a little boy, I'd wake up, right, and I'd I wouldn't be able to see. I couldn't open my eyes, and it was because they were full of mucus. It was disgusting, This is probably why I'm single still, too. That amongst many other reasons. I'm just saying that it happens, and right around October too, so I always know when the balloon fiesta's coming because my eyes start to act funky. Anyways, I had a sty, and so I'm gonna have to go wash it out with sugar water because I'm Hispanic and my grandmother was essentially a curandera. That's a compliment. Grandma, don't turn over in your grave. I'm just saying that according to Rudolfo Anaya, who's not one of my favorite people in the world, for the record. Don't ask me why either, because if you ask me why, I'll have to let you know. And anyways, I don't want to go there. Anyways, you put sugar water in your eye, you feel me? And you rinse it out, and you're supposed to get all the gunk out. And again, take this from somebody who knows. Also, if you ever have a stomach ache, be sure to get a raw egg on your belly button, cover it with the shot glass, light it up on top. I don't know if you cook the egg on your belly button. Anyways, don't take my advice. I'm a character. I'm a caricature of a character of myself. Again, sometimes I do it on purpose. The line is blurred, alright? On purpose. It's quite fun to try to navigate that. Anyways, 3-minute conclusion to that introduction. Let's talk tonight about how fascists utilize subsidies and then pretend that they're not all about socialism. So here's the thing. Being a fascist is essentially being a socialist with the guise that individuality trumps and or is better than any sort of other group and or categorical way of thinking. If that makes sense, because hate in and of itself, hate makes friends. Let's not get it twisted, alright? Just as much as love and peace and diplomacy and positive reinforcement and all these different cool areas of psychology function, so does negative reinforcement and negative things that happen, and you get a bunch of monsters hanging out together, and next thing you know, well, the 2024 presidential election. Oh boy, I'm telling you, I'm really exercising that right, you know what I mean? It's sort of I'm not gonna go there on the bad jokes. Albert, stop it. Anyways, I'm feeling kind of antsy right now. I'm feeling a little frisky, but I want to talk about, seriously, how all the different areas in your life are essentially socialist, and nobody wants to talk about it, right? Because moreover, I also want to talk about how Albuquerque made national news, and again, I spend a good part of my day trying to keep up with news, both, or I guess all three, locally, regional, and national, and I guess global. So I guess I'm unable to count either. So I guess that's 4 areas of news that I'm pretty in touch with, I read, FYP, it fills my page as well. We all have it. I'm not sure what's on yours, but mine is an interesting place for sure. Anyways, Albuquerque made national news in this article, I think, in it was an AP article, an Associated Press, right? So that's some person that works for an affiliate that is recognized by the group, the Associated Press, and they release these things, and the AP released an article. It was published on many different news places, outlets, as it is, right? Both physical and digital. I'm just trying to cover all the bases here. We live in an interesting time, but that's where the article was, and it talked about how New York City's mayor, who I'm a fan of, from what I hear, he's a pretty much socialist kind of a guy, and that's really where socialism needs to start, is in New York. And for the record, I still have yet to hear from a socialist party out there in New York. And what do you guys think? This is a joke? You guys think that I'm joking here? You think that this is like I'm just wasting my time here telling everybody and making phone calls and stuff? I can assure you, my friends, I'm not. So be some socialist comrades, you feel me? Oh, Jesus. And I just send some love my way, because anyways, the mayor of New York City is a socialist, obviously, and the guy is wanting to have, free public transportation. And again, you gotta be insane not to want to support that, and the article goes on to show Albuquerque in a negative light by saying and or reminding, I guess, what the article thinks are a bunch of dumb people, and to our credit, guys, I understand that we're not dumb. Okay, you're watching this program. I'm shameless. This is, again, some sort of weird version of a caricature of myself. Where do we stand? I'm just saying that in retrospect, you'd be crazy not to want to support free public transportation. And again, all while the argument, and that's where that was going to end with that punchline, is that you gotta pay for it. Again, I wish extremists would tell people something that people didn't already know. You feel me? Of course people have to pay for it. People pay for everything. You feel me? Yeah, things aren't free, my dude. At least not according to paperwork, We run our entire lives on a fiat currency system, a system that's entirely derived from, essentially magic. I mean, this is why the economy continues to grow when there's no real economic growth, I mean, again, I say the fascists are running this country like some sort of a Ponzi scheme, not as if it already wasn't run as a Ponzi scheme, but these guys are really going full force with it, and that's not good. And I say that because you get people that write articles and get paid. These fools get paid, by the way, to disseminate hateful propaganda, comparing Albuquerque to New York City and saying that New York shouldn't follow in our footsteps for free commuter rides. We have free public transit here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and let me tell you, without it, there would be dense populations of homeless people. There would be entire areas in town that are stagnant and would not be good for the underlying communities. There's a reason that people need to move. You feel me? I mean, again, you might have some cushy office job. You might think the world works on a 9-to-5 schedule, but for a good part of most of people that live in communities, that rely on public transportation, they don't have a car. They don't have that freedom of having to have an opportunity to do whatever they want to do whenever they want to do, kind of a thing, that's that kind of a thing. Those people rely on public transportation, and it adds up. When you already can't afford a car and you can barely afford to feed yourself, getting $4 to $6 for your round trip on the local bus is a big deal. It's a big deal. And you add that up every time you gotta go to work, and you begin to realize that you're spending a small percentage of your paycheck on just getting to work. Again, that makes no sense. That's a dumb thing to do. Why would you want to have the people that are supposed to be buying stuff from you have less money to buy stuff from you? Again, it's just a very dumb thing. It really, really is. Moreover, you guys should learn and investigate how public transit works in your city and how it's private, essentially, but subsidized. And again, that's what brings us into our big socialist topic conversation area of tonight, which are government subsidies. And how they impact you on the daily, and how all you fascists out there can't argue that fact. And if you do, again, then you probably need more help than I do. And again, look who this is coming from. I'm just saying that, like, subsidies are socialism, all right? Farmers, for example, receive subsidies. My roommate and I were talking about this, right? Like, essentially, the government is already socialist. And if you don't believe that, then you have to look at the big companies that are shaking and or extorting this country currently, while we sit back and fight over minimum wage laws, which haven't gone or increased in like 30 years or something crazy. I'm not sure. Maybe once in my lifetime, you feel me? And I'm only 37. I know I look like I'm 72 or whatever. I'm just saying, to all the haters. Anyways, subsidies exist. They exist from the very, you power your phone, right? You need to charge stuff, you need lights. That requires power. It comes from an energy grid. And that is run by a private company that gets government subsidies to build that power plant, and then they tack on a percentage of what they believe to be profit at the end, and get all of this money to build all of these things so that they can charge you more for electricity. Again, like, they take money from the government for free. Again, this is a very socialist way of running a business. I mean, if we could all be so lucky and just like apply to get a few $1 billion so that we can all build power plants, Jesus Christ, you know? But you gotta be in the cool kids club. You gotta already be rich. You gotta already have things. You gotta already be an oligarch. You already have to be a fascist, you feel me? And again, most of us aren't fascists. Most of this country is made up of a demographic that is not of Xer age or boomer age, but is more of like Gen Z and Alpha age. We do realize as old people that there are like young people, and that our children and our children's children are going to be getting old here pretty soon. And not to mention like us, we're getting super old and everything, and it's just time that we have conversations that are honest. That's all that I'm saying. Like, don't let people sell you false ideas or false narratives that lead to confusion, that lead to things that are not true, which are things like how this government is currently being run by fascists in a fascist way, but is already essentially socialist. From the farming, from the food that you get, that you eat every single night, to the places that you go to that have government subsidies because they use energy that comes off a grid that's run off a socialist, planned economic way. Okay? That's the way the world is. I'm just saying, it's not as if private companies are investing billions of dollars on their own money to build nuclear power plants and, energy grids and things like that. They're not doing that. If they were doing that, I wouldn't be telling you that they're not. You feel me? This is not the place to find misinformation and or misleading news. In fact, that's why, I like doing these videos, and I really appreciate not having any sort of conflicts of interest. I understand that people have different ways of doing things, and I'd be a silly, pretty dumb guy, more silly and more dumb than I already am, if I weren't, like, utilizing a platform that I could convey these messages on for free without spending millions of dollars to do. You know what I mean? Like, forgive a guy for trying to keep it simple. You feel me? Are you watching this video? Can we have a conversation when this video concludes about how the world is being run and how we should all stand up for anything that's worth standing up for, which is our freedom? It's like literally our freedom is at stake. That's what's at stake. And it's freedom for people that aren't fascists. It's freedom for people that want to coexist peacefully in a world where hate and fascism will always exist. Again, we can't please everyone. We can definitely try, though. As socialists, we can definitely try. We can definitely, send everyone a check, the UBI. We can definitely have universal health care. We can definitely implement a system where vouchers are sent out because, it's a step away from rent control, but I won't go there because I know that it's a little infringing. I get it. I'm sorry. It's all the locals out there that don't want to have to be forced to charge local people. These are your neighbors, dudes. You feel me? Unless you go all gentrified out and you sell your house and then move to a better and bigger place so that your house that you've spent the last 30 years in raising the family gets rented out for 4 times what the mortgage ever was, and you expect and you demand and you think that that's somehow right. all while you failed to fix the air conditioner that's been leaking for the past 20 years. Again, this is the way that Americans think, and it's toxic. It really is. Boomers, Xers, that's a toxic way of thinking. You feel me? Like, I just, there's no other way to put it. Like, how can you justify to yourself, like, when your house is paid off, to charge people 3 times the amount of what your mortgage was initially for rent? And then, like, expect to be, like, stewards of the community, and then backlash when people like myself want to implement policies like rent control and things like this. Then all of a sudden everyone's a politician. Everyone is like, hey, I don't want to do that, or no, you can't tell me what to do. Well, like, if no one can tell you what to do, then, like, who's going to tell you what to do? Nobody. And you're going to continue to just not do what's right. And that's why governments need sometimes to remind us on what we need to do. And not in a fascist kind of a way, you feel me? Not in a hateful kind of a way, but in a way that allows for an incentive, finally, to be, like, good stewards to our community and to ourselves and to our neighbors, and not target the very people that we live around to make, like, a crazy living off of them, and then expect, like, to be treated some kind of a way. And it's just, it's silly. It really is. I try to think about it, and I can't because it's silly. I'm getting out of character. Okay, hey guys, thanks for watching my videos. I really appreciate it. That was a long time in character there or whatever. Hopefully my lazy eye wasn't too much of a thing. You know, it's like I get kind of passionate. These are all improv speeches. My background is mostly an impromptu, and that's what I really enjoy doing. It's like all that I, you know, believe I have any kind of skill at. So it's something I'm doing. Thanks again. There's so many new people watching these videos, and there's been more than a handful of new subs, you feel me? So I hope that you guys continue to watch my show. I hope that you find some kind of value. I have the comments turned off very much on purpose, and, you know, at some point in the future, I'm sure that that will be revisited, and, you know, this is just to be public against some people in my life and their sort of input, and I just recognize that, you know. But again, it's like that because it needs to be clear that I'm here to entertain you, right? I'm not interested, and I've said this before, like, so much is that, like, yeah, like, if people are watching the videos, I'm interested in that, yes, but I'm not interested in, like feedback at this point. There will be a time in my life, I can assure you, where we will all have an opportunity to, you know, if you want to ask me a question, I'd be more than happy to answer your question. It's not that I'm trying to not answer questions, it's just that I'm here to do my job, and my job is to talk, and is to say things so that we can implement changes in a socialist kind of a way, on a policy level, on a national level. You know, that's my job, right? And, like, that's the only thing that I'm interested in doing. I'm an actor, you know, I'm a writer, I do all these other different things on the side or whatever, but understand that, like, this is my job. This is the way I think of this, right? Is, like, it's important. It really is. And it doesn't have to be me. You know, it can be you at home. You feel me? Like, put your boots on, you know, fight for people's rights, like, by speaking out for things that are, like, not good, like fascism. You know, that's a pretty good hot topic right now, and I tell you, like, I'm not gonna let up. I mean, again, I'm not in character right now. I am anti-hate, and it doesn't matter who identifies as what part of a group within that group of hate. I just, there's just no, the tolerance level is done, you know. I am anti-hate in every single way possible. I will not stand for it, you know. I don't think you should stand for it. I don't think we should stand for it. I think it's crazy that we do, and I think that there are different ways to go about making this country, like, the way, like, the country that it needs to be. You feel me? Like, if we're running this thing, which some might argue we are, we may as well do it the right way, and it's only going to happen from within. No one else is going to come change this place. It's got to happen here. And in socialism, it's got to start with that. It has to. There's no other way. I wish there was. No, I don't, because socialism's really awesome, but it really is. It's the only way. So, yeah, we'll talk about it, and that's what we'll be doing for the foreseeable future. It's fun. These videos are fun. I got about 20 seconds left. I hope that you guys have a wonderful evening. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you guys here in a few hours. This is video number 2 today. Thanks again for keeping up with me. I promise I'll do some more, like, personal, silly, anecdotal stuff here real soon. Probably, obviously, in the morning. We'll get going with that. But all right, have a really good night. Thanks for watching my show. All right, bye.